Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of the Indie Author Book Club and it follows on from one that I did last year of Firefox. If you need to go and check that out, you can check that out up in the cards. I will leave a link for you up there and I will also leave a link for you at the end of this video. But this time last year I was reviewing Firefox by Amanda Sloothaak, and this time I am reviewing Ice Wolves by Amanda Sloothaak. This is the second instalment of the Myths of the Northern Land duology. There are only 2 books in this series, so this is the final book. If you haven't read Firefox, I highly recommend you go and pick that up because this book follows on straight from the ending of Firefox, give or take a few months. When we pick up Dawn's story again in Ice Wolves, she and the other people that she's with from her village are understandably unsettled after the events of the ending of Firefox. She's in a position where she wants to right so many wrongs for herself, her family and her Verger clan at large. Now in Firefox, I loved how Dawn was portrayed. She was a perfect mashup of wanting to fight but also feeling repulsed by that life, and that journey continues for her in this book, and Amanda doesn't hold back with that. The other characters too are all dealing with their own grief and the aftermath of war, and are not necessarily doing it in the best of ways, especially Dawn. Dawn is a perfect example of this, I might add. She's definitely a character who speaks first and thinks later. She's often getting herself into trouble because she says what's on her mind and she doesn't necessarily think about how that sounds to other people, and that can affect the people around her pretty drastically in this book in particular. But that's what I loved about Dawn's journey throughout the whole of this duology. It's about her trying to assimilate what she believes to be true and also trying to match that against what she knows to be true. I can't say too much on that front because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there were moments when I wanted to reach in to the people that Dawn had kind of upset and just hug them. Another thing I really loved about this book is that the world expands. You get to see a little bit more of the Northern Lands, especially Neelan's village, the Neotha village. I truly enjoyed seeing how the Neotha clan were portrayed and seeing that contrast between how they lived their lives and what they believed and how the Verger clan lived their lives. And Dawn was kind of stuck in the middle, trying to kind of fit into both, and that was a really good way of introducing how the Neotha clan lived. One of the main things I loved about seeing the Neotha clan was seeing how they worked with their companion wolves, and also seeing how Dawn grew in that area as well for her own experiences. That was really cool, and I really enjoyed seeing the wolves more in this book. If you liked Ulf from the first book, we see some more of him, and that was one of my favourite parts. I really loved Dawn's relationship with Ulf, and I am so glad that Amanda continued with that in this book as well. There are some truly heart-stopping moments in this book, and I'm not ashamed to admit that at one particular moment I cried my eyes out with the rest of the characters. What they go through, what some of them have to suffer, is just, Amanda doesn't shy away from that. She doesn't shy away from dealing with grief and the pain of the aftermath of war, and I really, really appreciate that in this book. When Amanda has Dawn thinking about the bigger issues like war and peace, you are right there alongside her, asking the same questions that Dawn's asking, and it never once feels like it's preaching at you or lecturing you about whether war is right or wrong, or this side is right and this side is wrong. It's just, it really portrays the tangled mess of the result of war, and that is really relevant, I think. One final thing about Ice Wolves is that it doesn't just focus on war and the pain and grief that can come from that. It also focuses on the friendships that develop because of it, the loyalty between clans, and it focuses on a hope for a better future. Despite it focusing heavily on war, it does leave you hoping that these characters are in for a better future, and that is something that I was really pleased with as well. As I said to you before, Ice Wolves is the second part in the Myths of the Northern Land duology. It is out today, so if you want to go and check it out, I will leave a link, and I will also leave links to Firefox down below as well. If you haven't checked out my review of Firefox, you can do that over here, and if you want to check out my playlist for how to write a series, you can do that over here. With that said, that's going to be the end of this video. I will see you next week with a brand new everyone. And in the meantime, if you do purchase Ice Wolves or Firefox, don't forget to leave Amanda a review on Amazon, Goodreads, anywhere that you review your books. And as I say, I will be back next week with a brand new video. See you then. Bye.